Welcome back everyone. In this episode, we'll show you how to manage your work and tasks via our Kanban board. Now we call our Kanban board element board. So let's show you how to get in. Firstly, let's open up our portfolio. If we go to manage and select the portfolio that we want to open up, it'll bring up the carousel. We'll go down to a project level and create tasks using the element board. Currently, you can see I've got no tasks. Now, there are two ways I can add tasks into Element. I'll show you the classic way first, which is by clicking on the Add Task button. Now I'll save it. Again, you'll see your notification and the task card pop up onto the carousel view. I can continue to create tasks by clicking on the Add button and populating the forms. But let me show you how to do this in the element board. So in the options menu, find the element board icon and click on it. The first option allows you to create your own element boards in a customized way. The second option opens up a classic version of a Kanban board with a column that says to do, doing, and a column that's done. And the third option opens up an enhanced element board, a column that has to do, a nested column that has doing, which is design, build, and test, for example, for a software team, and the last column is done. Now what I'll do actually is I'll show you how you can create that yourself by clicking on the first option. The first thing you'll need to do is give your first column a name. So I'll call this first column to do, and I'll save it. Now as you can see, the column has been created. It's short for now because there's nothing in it, but as you add more tasks into the column, you'll be able to see the column grow longer. What I'll do is I'll create the rest of my columns right now. Now I can do that by clicking on the plus column button. I'll call this column doing, and I'll press save, and I'll click on a third column and call this done. Press save. To create a task, type into the text field the name of the task. Once you've given the task a title, press plus, and you'll see the task card pop up. Now we can click into the task card and populate the task form. You'll notice this is the same as the add task form. Now, as you can see, I've just created a second task to go into the column. I can continue to do this by putting in the task name and pressing the plus button. I'll create a few more. It's important to note that because this Kanban or this element board exists within my first project carousel, all tasks I create will automatically link to my first project. It's important to note that you can also assign users to your tasks, just like in the add task form. If I had a team of users, I can select them from my drop-down list here. Once I save the task, they'll get a task notification pop up to let them know that they have a task waiting for them in the project. Okay, now I have a list of tasks. As I work on them, I can move them through the various stages of my project. To make this easier, I can assign a status to each of my columns. So for example, if I wanted all my tasks that were in the to-do column to display the status new, I click on the top right corner of the column and I'll say linked status will be new. When I press save, all the tasks that now exist within this column will automatically be new. In my next column, if I wanted to link the status to active, I'll click on the top right, select the active status and press save. Now if I move this task across from to do to doing, what you'll see is when I open the task, the status is now active. If I move it back from doing to do, you'll now see the status is now new. Lastly, I'll give my done column the completed status. Press save. Now you'll see if I move a task to the done column, if you go into the task card, you'll see the status is completed. Now here's where we can get a little bit fancy with our columns. For example, if you're a software company, your doing stage may have 3 sub-stages. Let me show you an example of what we can do with nesting columns. As you can see, I've created 3 further columns, but I want these 3 to be stages of my doing column. Now that I've created my 3 sub-columns, I'll show you how to click and drag them into the column I want to expand. Click on the title, move it over into the doing column. You'll see now the doing has got design nested. Now I'll bring in build, and I put it as well in the doing column. Lastly, I'll click on test. Now you can see that I've got a to-do column associated with the status new. I have a doing column that has 3 sub-columns, and this is associated with the active status to show that work is in progress. And now I have a done column at the end. So as work goes through the 3 stages of doing, once it's completed, I can then put it into the done column. Let's go and look at how we can track progress back in the project. So if I just click on the project icon, it'll change the view from the element board back to the project carousel that we're in. Now you can see the tasks are also displayed as task cards. If I jump back into the portfolio level, you can see that my first portfolio has 1 active project. I'll go ahead and create a second project as an example. Now you can see my portfolio has 2 projects. Now what you can do is open up a portfolio level element board. Let's go ahead and create the same 3 columns. I'll also assign them the stages. Now that I've got my 3 columns at the portfolio level, what I can actually do is bring my projects into a portfolio level carousel. So if I look at my backlog, here are the 2 projects that exist, and I can bring them in and put them in to do. So now the projects that sit within this to do column will automatically inherit the status which is linked to it. Now just like in the task level, I can create projects using the add card functionality here. I'll add a 3rd project in. Now I can go into the project and update the details. As you can see, because it's in the to-do column, the status is automatically new. And you can see it also links correctly to my first portfolio, which houses these projects. If I go back into the carousel by clicking on the portfolio button, I can see here that the 3 projects I just created, including the one I've created in the Kanban, is now here. So now you've seen the basic functionality of the element board. I encourage you to create your own element boards and create some tasks. And you can see how you can manage work in this way as well. So in the next video, I'll show you how to use the funding allocations and funding grids in a bit more detail so that you can plan your forecasts and bring in your actuals against your project costs. Okay, we'll see you then.